welcome to this Zoom meeting. And the purpose behind this is, as we've been doing very much on hands-on with physical meetings, is, as you know, we all have various experience and knowledge. All right. In the proper mental health workshops that we will be holding, there will be qualified people. We got Dr. Nia joining us tomorrow, and maybe Dr. Patricia as well. And today, this is just to start the ball rolling. All right. We will be covering different workshops here, including health, including finance, including health, other forms of health and well-being, whether it's yoga. Dr. Geeta has already done some Zoom meetings in the past, and we hope that they carry on doing that. Our kind of global network is expanding, so we hope that those experts in those fields will be joining us on a regular basis. Well, the buzzword now is mental health. And it's like, just because the World Organization has come up with this idea that this is a priority now, doesn't mean it hasn't been around for quite a few number of years. The first time when the governments and the United Nations and the World Health Authority recognized was in the 1980s. And most governments in those days did take the initiative on to try to address that problem. But like with everything else in the UK, in our own country, in Britain, our governments at that time were very concerned for two reasons. The concern came because they had a politician who was suffering from mental health. They had movie people, so people in the how can I say, in the public eye. So they had to take it very seriously. But like with most programs, when they're taken on, what happens is it's the buzzword for a while. All right, because everybody wants to jump on the bandwagon. I was talking to a group of mental health experts just a few days ago, and they were sort of saying, yes, everybody wants to be on it now, but are they qualified to deal with that? Yes, you can hold meetings in community rooms or whatever, but there is also a danger that unless you are qualified to deal with those, you can have like a wellness center. You can have feeling happy sessions. But unless you are qualified, unless you have the knowledge, the experience, you shouldn't really be going down, because it is a very tricky slope. And you give the wrong advice, all right, which did happen in the early 90s, where organizations started, and there were a couple of suicides. And those directors of those companies were sued. So we have to be careful when we address mental health. Today, we are touching on the subject, although as somebody that's qualified, I can answer your questions. I can. Not only am I clinically trained, but I am also have diploma in kinetical behavioral. But today's idea is, if you are like with Dr. Geeta's, she's a wonderful doctor. I know, because I tried her, and she's sincere. But they can touch on wellness. But I'm sure Dr. Geeta would agree with me that she wouldn't ever consider dealing with somebody's mental health, because from her point of view, from her medical point, she will treat with the symptoms, but to give advice. So the same, today we will discuss, and tomorrow when the other session is there with qualified doctors who have knowledge of dealing with. And this is why we want to do a certain number of programs on different aspects. So to get experienced, knowledgeable experts in that field, because we are not an organization that is by the, okay, doesn't matter. Because when you're qualified in that, you have spent time, money to be an expert. So you want to be on the same platform as those people. All right. And this is why when you ask a doctor to do something, they don't want to put their career in jeopardy. Yeah. So for that purpose today, we know most of us in this group today, all right, that are here, has come because in some way or other we have been touched with health issues, including mental. Let me start the ball rolling. Okay. So then you can all touch on it. For example, I was how can I say, very much together person, dealt with anything that life could throw at me. But it only needs a trigger, only needs a little bit of a push at the wrong time, and everything comes trembling down, which is what happened with me. A simple accident, which in other ways would not have affected me in any way, affected me both physically and mentally. And it took a long time, more than 5-6 years, to get back on the keel. Even after that, you're not always going to be the same person you were before you dealt with those issues, whether they were emotional, whether they were physical, because it changes you. Your vision becomes different. So that is the reason behind that. So, and if you have sometimes well-meaning people telling you it's not the same, it's not a joke. Mental health is not a joke. It's not a laughing matter. It is a very serious problem. The only person who understands it is the person that goes through it. Just like if you get divorced, your colleague, your friend who's never been divorced, never been married, or whatever, or never had a relationship, they will not understand that. Similar as a person who has suffered grief in one form or another cannot understand. They can sympathize, but they will never understand the pain you go through. So this is where it's very, yes, and the thing is, I'm a great believer that in a way, if you take a responsibility on, you should deal with it to the best of your ability, not to seek any financial or any other rewards. You should do it because it comes from the heart. And that is the only sure way of achieving success. People, sometimes people come across and, oh, yes, we do this. But there will always be something that will drag you back if you are not skilled in the field or in whichever occupation you are involved with. We talk about health. Okay, today we're talking about mental health, not just because it's recognized. Mental health is around you all the time, not one day in a year or one day. I mean, I'm sure if I'm going to be putting out to you, all of you, and say, for example, you're in a corporate career. All of a sudden, your job goes. You lose that identity. You feel, where's the person I was before? All right. And it does knock your confidence. It knocks not your physical being, but your mental. Because if you're mentally not thinking about things, then you're not going to be eating properly. You may put weight on or you may lose weight. So mental health is both mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. And it is a very slow journey when you are in that situation to come out of it. You need the right training if you are guiding people, you need to have the right experience. I was lucky enough to find a doctor who understood where I was coming from and who understood it was not, you're not going mentally, unstable. It is because I had suffered a head injury and I had needed a different type of training to get out of that. So I'm going to throw it out to yourselves now. I'm sure all of you have a story to share, how maybe you got physically or emotionally, and it's how it's affected. Because when you become depressed, somebody telling you, oh, you're fine, you do this, you do that, it is not a laughing matter. That is one thing we have to understand. It is a very serious problem. All right. Unless you have gone, some people, I will tell you this, just like, we put a mirror, sometimes we smile when we are suffering inside. I mean, I remember when I started doing workshops again, I came out. People sometimes see the image. They see the painted nails, they see the lipstick, they see the foundation, they see a person. But only somebody that goes through it can see the inner pain. Because even if you're coming out of it, they can see the pain behind the smile. So let me open this to who would like to say something next. Hello?
Yeah, Dr. Abhnash.
Yeah, I think lastly,
Yeah.
okay, so we can start with Dr. Geeta and then probably we can go to Dr.
Thank you, Meenakshi. So the first thing that we have this mental health day, the purpose that we have, the reason that we have to have this day is something which points that this is so much prevalent. Had it not been there, had there not been many mental health issues, there would never had been such a day. The fact that we have this mental health day, hopefully in future we have so good mental health that we don't have a day for mental health. Let's hope for that. That's what I believe. And regarding mental health, it is the base of all illnesses. That's what I have seen. In homeopathy, we do a detailed case history taking. So in that, where our mind is important. So whatever ailments you have, whatever sufferings you have, is somewhere the cause lies in your mental health. You have suffered somewhere, your mental health has been deranged, and then your physical body is affected. So the base of every illness is basically mental health. So it is so important to take care of mental health. And that begins from your own self. Self-care is important. That's what I always keep telling patients. Self-nutrition, meditation, self-workouts, self-fitness, taking care of yourself, getting some time for your own self. Although you have so many duties, you have responsibilities, it is important to do all those as well. But in addition, it is important that you have some time for your own self. And this is where the happiness comes from, when you do something for yourself. So there are people who will do everything, but they don't give importance to their own self. And this is where the mental health starts going down. But if you balance this, then it is more possible that you have a better mental health. And I've been seeing cases of fibromyalgia. In those histories, this is 100% finding that in the past history, there has been some kind of mental abuse, either in relationships, either from the family or work-wise, or somewhere there is some factor, some mental abuse that has led to fibromyalgia. This is a common finding in whatever cases I've been seeing. And I'm dealing with cases of anxiety and PTSD or postnatal depression. But in these cases also, there has been some factor, some flashback, or some mental health issue. So what I explain to my patients is that you have to, what is the factor that can be changed? If you are in a certain circumstance, in a certain situation, it is not possible for us to change the other person, the person who is the cause of your mental health. Say, for example, somebody is bothering you with constant abuse, verbal abuse, say. So you cannot change that person. What is important is change yourself. That's what I advise patients. If The only factor which should be the first step is change yourself. Don't let yourself be bothered. If somebody says that you are, say for example, I had a patient yesterday in my clinic, and she just sat down and she told me, I'm not good. I said, why are you not good? I think you are the best. She said, no, I'm not good because my family thinks so. I said, what is the issue like? And then she said that they think that I'm not doing enough for my mother. And I asked her, do you think that you're not doing enough? She said, no, I am doing enough. Whatever I can do, I'm doing my best. And I told her that you shouldn't be affected by other people. People will say, even if you do, they will say. But you have to make sure that you do the right thing and you don't bother about what people say. Mental health starts over here. So this abuse will gradually develop and it will create negative emotions in the person. And those negative emotions gradually convert into anxiety and then into depression and then other disorders. So it is this base where we need to work upon. We need to work upon self-care, self-nutrition, self-fitness, living. I think it's important that you take care of yourself, and for the world would be a better. One more example.
Neha, please go on mute, Neha.
There's one more example where in olden days, if you see, there were fewer mental health issues than now. That is because now people are more cautious about what they say, whether they should say, whether they shouldn't. There are so many social pressures and people don't want to come out as they are. And in olden days, it was not so. They would gossip. They would tell their feelings. They would speak out to friends and people around. So I think in a way, the gossip which was there previously is important. It is important to speak out your heart to someone. What's your say, Dr. Abhnash Meenakshi?
Well, it's true. I mean, when we lived in extended families, we didn't have time. I'll give you an example of a friend of mine. Well, she was my employee actually, and she once said, you know, we are so busy, we don't have time to be depressed. Yeah. If your mind and is kept busy, but that doesn't mean that one day when you're sitting by your quiet, it might not jump on you. But the problem is, if you're doing something, I find the people, because we did do a survey, I did that in my thesis when I was doing counseling, is that people who keep themselves busy, people who have a network of friends or family who they can rely on, are less depressed.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are more willing, because they're giving their time and space to others, helping others. They're the ones that will succeed and are content within themselves, within their lives. And those ones who anchor for the limelight, the ones that feel that they don't have that close knit, they're the ones that are discontented. Yes. And then yes. And as they get older, there are problems, both physical and mental, because then they become more and more bitter. Absolutely. Because they have not achieved. Yeah. So I remember, I mean, what I say, I actually practice. And Meenakshi would be able to verify that, and if Pavni has joined, that
yes,
when I first...
totally agree. That is true. And I agree with Dr. Geeta when she says that there is stigma involved. And when it comes to mental health, people like it hush hush and they do not like to share about it. Because this has not been, it's not about today or yesterday. It's something that's already said. That's something that we believe is going to be judged if we tell anyone I'm facing this. The most, as Abby has said right in the beginning, that you have to go to proper practitioners, to proper professionals. Most of the time it happens that I come to you and say, because you're a professional, both of you, you would listen to me, and you'll listen till the end and then give me an advice or not give me an advice. You'll decide if you need to signpost me to someone or get me an appropriate solution. But when it comes to, a friend or someone we know, maybe in our workplace or maybe in our at our house, amongst our relatives, when we go, even before we start, they'll start advising us. So because we are so scared of being judged and being advised right from the beginning, we stop there. And next time we don't even attempt. So I'll be thinking, no, I'll go and tell her and she's going to tell me this. So, okay, I already know the answer from there. And I don't go there. I wouldn't go there. So that is definitely the truth. Even for autism moms like me, I cannot open up. Like, you said, like Abby has said, you have said, only a person in the shoes can understand the situation of a person going through it. When an autism mommy explains her problem to an autism mom, they'll understand exactly what we are going through. But if you talk about a typical child's mom, they would just be wondering, like, why are we complaining? Like, what actually is the problem? There's no problem. You have children, you have problems that children have, and we'll be like, no, it's not the typical problem. It is very difficult, very different. So yes, I do agree.
Absolutely. The other thing is, in the UK and in most of the European countries and in Canada, we have free services that was set up way back when the first World Health Organization or the United Nations came up, and this was going back to 1980. They have not been disbanded. All right, they are set up by, you can go in any borough, you can tap in. It's nice if your GP refers you, but you don't have to be a GP referral. You can actually ring up, look under counseling, free. Samaritans is the biggest, as we all know. Yes, and the thing is, because sometimes people don't want to talk to people, all right? When people talk, is because a real person with a mental health will not stand up in front unless they've been going through counseling. And counseling is also different forms. It can be person-centered, it can be kinetic. It depends at what level of mental health you're going through. All right. So that's the reason. So at the end of this Zoom, when we put it on, Meenakshi, Sage, if you're listening, please put all the sections that people can access. And a real counselor is not interested, because their job, like a psychiatrist, they want the best for the clients. They want the best for So just like you, Dr. Geeta, I'm praising you because I know you're really good and in your, in your profession. So I would say that for others, if they want to find about homeopathy, please. It's a personal recommendation. And because when people are going, they don't have the courage at that time, like Meenakshi mentioned, all right, with anything we're dealing with, because we are here. It's here we are confused. Not here, not the mouth. The mouth will say what others want to hear. It's here because that's where we walk away. When I was doing counseling for a refugee organization, and I remember that, all right, because they didn't want to listen to somebody who was dressed up, smiling. And that's what they said. They said to my member of staff, oh, and they were like putting themselves out and they didn't want to. And they said to her, as my member, what would that woman understand? She's never probably had a. So luckily for me, there was a picture. I don't know where she got that picture from, but she had this picture of me with my big black glasses, permed hair, standing over a kitchen patila, like a pan, cooking. And I think my daughter, one of them must have taken it and she given it. And so when I walked in with the manager, she said, oh, time to start the workshop. I walked in and this picture of a woman in a, like a salwar kameez, and this woman who was a real heckler, who was heckling me in the beginning, before break, that you don't understand, blah, blah. So I thought, forget it. So the picture was there. So I took it out. They put my picture on back again. And so I said, so you think you relate more to that than to me? All right. She's, of course, she's like us. We don't have money to spend money on doing our hair and this. So I said, okay.
This meeting is being recorded.
So I said to her, I said, all right. I said, put my glasses on, the same glasses I was wearing there. And I said, if I didn't have straight hair today, that's me. All right. And they went, really? I said, ask my member of staff. All right. And they said, so I said, I've been there. I said, when I go out of here, I'm going to be that person again. The only thing is, your organization would not have taken me on to deliver this workshop if I looked like that. Because they wouldn't have, because I have to fit in too. But the reason, and I'll tell you what, that woman, we talked and everything after the meeting with the rest of them. She runs her own business until about 10 years ago. I can tell you what, she was making really good money and she employed people. And and we remained friends. And when I went through my kind of suffering, she was there for me. She said, come on. She was the only one that had the guts to tell me to get out from wallowing in self-pity, and that owned it to my friends and family. And that is because she been there. Then she saw the saying that I did not want to ask help. So she was non-judgmental. And that is what counselors are. So please, I'm leaving it open to the rest of you now. Please share what you want to, because this is your platform to let your message go to the rest of the world.
Can I please request Rakhi Singh to say a few words?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Sorry, at noon time, not even good morning, but it's lovely to see you all. Thanks, Abhnash and Meenakshi and everybody around. I know most of you have said many things. Definitely, mental health is not a one-day thing, that it doesn't start today and finish tomorrow. It's like, it can linger on for years and years and years. Sometimes you don't even realize that you have an issue. Probably in the childhood, somebody said, a neighbor or a relative said something to you, which stuck in your mind. But that time you didn't realize how serious that is. But when you grew up, you can, go back in your subconscious mind, and that reflects that, okay, yeah, probably it was any incident or something. So as you know a little bit about me, that, I work with children, and past I've done a lot of workshops, things like, many activities and workshops with children. So I just want to share a couple of things, what my experience has been. Yes, I'm myself, I feel that I have been a victim of postnatal depression. Not victim as such, but, I have gone through the postnatal depression, which I didn't realize, to be honest, that time when I was going through. I know that, I was getting tired, I'm not well, I'm very annoyed. I want my child, but I can't love, that full emotion is not coming out. And I'm feeling guilty of that why it is happening. I'm the mom. I have to do that. I have to love my child. But I used to be so tired and, ill health and everything. So that affected that emotion. And, it's a vicious cycle. You do that, but you feel guilty as well. So I used to book a GP appointment, go there and cry in front of my GP. Because I thought, who should I talk? Whom should I say that I'm going through this? I can't tell my mom, otherwise my mom will tell me off, like, oh, how could you do that? I can't tell my husband, because probably he will not understand. Friends, no, they will make fun of me. I used to go to GP, book appointment, and I used to cry and say that I know what is happening, but as soon as I come to you, I started, So she said that, take some supplements, get some, physical energy back into you, And also, you can come anytime. You can book the appointment. You want to talk to me, you can come, and, we'll try to sort this gradually. So that time I didn't realize that I had an issue. I thought it's only physical issue, that I'm not, being able physically to manage the household, the children, family, everything. But later on, I realized that it was the postnatal depression. So this is how ingrained it is. And it's so subtle, it's so light that you don't even realize you're going through that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so minute. It goes so deeply into your subconscious. So it's very hard to diagnose. So that is one of my personal experience. But coming back to the children experience, which, I've worked with children for past many years, I would say about 20 years or so. So I used to run workshops of art and sketching. Somebody noticed that, okay, somebody saw my flyer, they contacted me. They came to my class. The mom said, not in front of the child, she messaged me personally that my child, she's very angry all the time. Very angry. She's very creative, but she doesn't talk to us too much. And whenever we try to talk, she's very angry. And this is like she must be in 7-8 years old. I said, okay. And she has some, illness as well, some heart disease and all that problem as well. So probably everything is just combined, and she's very anxious and angry and upset. What you can do? I said, you send her to my classes. I will talk to her nicely, peacefully, try to understand, because I really believe in art therapies. I believe that once you start, you don't even realize how much emotions you have outpoured on that piece of paper. So first 15-20 minutes, I used to just talk to that girl, how your day has been, not like, clocking the time that, okay, it's been 1 hour, that's it. So I used to give her extra time, just talking, just making her comfortable of the environment, new setting where she has come in. And then, okay, then you write down 5 best things what you have done today or observed or felt, and I will write mine. And then gradually progressing towards the, drawing or coloring or whatever sketching we used to do together. And the painting which she used to draw, that, I could understand that there is a lot of heavy emotions, she's trying to show in those paintings, in those drawings. There is, you can see from the colors which she has used, you can see from the faces which she has drawn, you can see from the, the body, or, the extra elements which she has used in the drawing. So that all showed that she's suffering a lot. So we kept on continuing. We did few trials, but the mom used to message me again on a personal basis that, I think my daughter has started enjoying your classes. And this is the first time she's enjoying anything. I felt so happy. I felt rewarded. I've never done, that thing before. Before this time, I was never, treating anybody on this level. So it was not a treatment. It was just like whatever I knew and I could feel, heart to heart. I just kept on going. And that girl evolved into a young, bright, such a creative person. She endorsed, she enrolled herself on a very big art course. She did so many wonderful things in her life. Like this is like around 10, 12 years back talking about. And that family still regards me a lot, that you were the one who, took her out from that situation. Because when we talk to family, the family is always biased, their judgment. So you were the third person where she could, outpour her emotions, where she could share what she is going through. And I believe that, definitely art therapy, art, coloring, drawing, all these things really, really help. All these are, the tangible experiences which you don't even realize that you are sharing, you are opening up on that piece of paper. So that joy which this whole experience gave me, I thought I should share, and we should encourage all our children to do art, go on to the creative side. You can just, do the planting, do the sow the seeds, do some, trimming, pruning of the plants or anything. The gardening also helps, the nature, because you're dealing directly with the earth, the soil. So these are few of my observations. I can go on and on. There are a few more examples.
Thank you so much.
I would
Thank you so much, Rakhi.
The chance. And also I would like that this is my one of the journal which are my happy mind. I can share the link. I don't know, it's
I think sharing the link will be better.
So this is from 7 to 12 years of age group, because I feel that there are no more kids, there are no more teenagers, and there's a lot bubbling up inside their mind, and it's better to write it down, better to come. And there are no TV programs for this age group. There are nothing proper books to read, nothing, so either they have to jump onto their teenager level and to absorb all that content, but there's nothing in that age group that falls in. This is my observation. So I have designed this workbook. If you feel, please share in your contacts and all. I'm sure it will definitely help. So I have design it very carefully, like how you can open up, just talk to me about color of your eyes, when do you like to smile, the beautiful moment of your day, and then you open up. So I'll share the link, have a look. But yeah, few of my observations, I think it's a very but you all are experts here sitting here, I can see everyone. But
thank you so much, Rakhi. It's very brave of you to share what you shared. Yes, postnatal traumatic stress is there. People do go through a lot, and it is so minute that it seeps deep in, and it's not even something that people know about. But all this is real, and we need to open up to someone. As you have said, sometimes it's not family, sometimes it's a total stranger that will come to your help. And thank you for the information and all the examples you have said. Yes, art is a therapy, and it works beautifully for many of us. And I would want Sonia D'Souza from Dropledge. Could you please say a few words or share your experience?
I was not really prepared on this because there are such wonderful
you are wearing the badge.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am on mental health, and which is there because like I said, there are such wonderful women here in the room who are qualified medical professionals or qualified health professionals, including yourself. But what I focus on as part of mental health is digital health, because technology is something that doesn't go away from our hands, and it's not going to go anytime. With the way artificial intelligence has come in now to the other things from the time the computers came to where we are today. And as a woman, and I think this holds true for all genders, I would say, and irrespective whether you're a parent or a working professional and an entrepreneur, access to media, different kinds of social media platforms that we have in our hands and that we see around, it's very inspiring. It's very nice, but it also brings you down a lot. And it also wastes your time at times. Like, you just want to see that one recipe, or you just want to chat with one friend, or you just want to acknowledge another friend. And you never know when your time is lost on social media. And then you end up either feeling guilty that, oh my God, I missed out on this time. I could have worked on a pitch. I could have spoken to a parent. I could have, finished something for my child, or I could have, checked out or done some chore, or I could have gone out for a walk, because there are so many external factors which are working. Another aspect that happens is you really want to congratulate your friend or your colleague or your industry partner, but at the same time within yourself, while the congratulation is typed, you don't enjoy that congratulatory message because, hey, you know what? He's doing better or she's doing better. It's good to have inspirations. It's good to have competition. And you need a village sometimes to raise just not your child, but your whole family and to exist. But you don't want the village to be against arms or at least you think that the village is against arms because you yourself are so lost looking at everybody's, good things. And social media, unfortunately, always talks about the
Good things.
goodness of things. We have very few people who believe and showcase and come in on honesty talking about what's not there. So in a nutshell, yes, we need technology, but we need to have that balance so that we don't lose our mind, we don't lose our heart, and in turn your physical, mental health is completely gone, and that impacts your own personal universe. So that's me.
Thank you so much, Sonia. That is very insightful. And everyone who's here and everyone who's going to listen to this, they can really take this tip that everything in social media is not true. Everything is not beautiful and bright, and do not compare your life with anyone else. Can I please ask Dr. Lady Vanet to share an experience or any advice that you would want to say or share with us?
Thank you, and good afternoon to the panel and to the viewers that are going to watch after this. In regards to myself, I always like to use myself as a personal example in sharing of information. So as we all know that I have said this many a times, that there are many times that in the past and ongoing, that I have been depressed or gone through depressive moments. And when I identify that I'm feeling low, and when I identify that I'm overcome with many things to do, what I tend to do is I find something creative to do. Therefore, I am managing my mental health, managing my well-being, and managing how I react to the moments that I'm feeling low. In that, I find myself things to do. So I find myself creative things to do. I like designing flyers, designing logos, designing branding, all of that. I lock myself away with my laptop and I just do just that. And I keep my mind active in doing, because those beautiful things that I am making are the ones that lift up my mood. And at different times, it could be that I'm listening to music, taking a walk and listening to music, and that uplifts my mood. So I would encourage everyone that in those times that we have, it might not be that we're going through a mental health crisis, but it might be that we are going through the low moments or depressive moments. As we just heard about social media sometimes can make others feel as if they're losing out. Social media can make others feel inadequate. But in those moments and times that one feels in that way, I always suggest that it is very good to find something that you enjoy doing, be it cooking, be it walking, be it listening to music, be it maybe be like myself, being creative and finding something creative to do that makes you turn yourself into seeing some beauty out of what is inside of you and what you can do. And I think that would be my advice for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lady Vanan. That's really helpful. And all of us should have, I think, even a hobby. Even a hobby helps a lot when it comes to keeping yourself busy or taking your mind off something, wanting to be distracted for a bit. I think a hobby always helps. And being creative, as you said, yes, this is really needed, much needed. I would please invite Dr. Angela Sung to say a few words on your experience or any advice you have for our listeners.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me on. No preparation for this, so I'm just going to speak from my heart. From a hypnotherapist point of view, I see clients where they've actually had a lot of counselling, and from counselling, so every Monday, for example, they may go back to the same talk therapy, and then they open up their heart, talk about their trauma, it all comes out, and then for the rest of the whole day, because your heart, you've been crying, you've been upset, the rest of the whole day, it kind of affects you the whole day. And then the next day, you go back and you go back to normality again, and you're okay. Try not to think about your traumas, your past, memoirs and what you just said yesterday. And then come back the next Monday, or maybe 2 weeks' time, the counsellor or the talk therapist will ask the same thing. Let's talk about your trauma again. So it's like a reminder of the trauma over and over and over again. Are you actually really fixing the results? Or actually, are you just opening the wound over and over again? Now, in hypnotherapy, what we do is slightly different, is the fact that we say, okay, you might only need 1 session, 2 sessions, depending on what the cause or the root cause is and how deep it is, the trauma. So what we do, we take you back to the root cause. And what's important is about the weeds, the root of the issue. So when we are able to pull out the root, the deep roots, and also change the meaning, the perception of what happened at that moment in time. So for example, if it was a belief, your mom said you weren't good enough, or your teacher said you weren't, something wasn't right about you, and you took that to the depth of a 5-year-old, an 8-year-old, or a 12-year-old, that you can't do something just because you made a mistake. And you had that belief inside of you that you just, thought, I'm never going to be good at art, or I'm never going to write again, or I'm never going to sing again. It could be anything. Other revelations are much more coarse, deeper. When we mentioned about the Maya Fabregala, about trauma, sex abuse, and things like that, when they were young. So there are all sorts of different traumas that people have. But that memory that they have always stays there. It's an imprint, it's a programming now, like taken to adulthood, your adulthood. So what you need to, as a therapist, you take that route, you look at the picture without too much judgment. You see it like you are watching a video and of yourself. Now you are not 5 years old or 8 years old. You're watching that video again, replaying it, but this time just viewing it. And then now trying to understand the situation that you were looking at a girl at 5 years old, or a boy at whatever 8 years old. That's what's happened, and that's what formed your belief. And actually, as an adult now, it's not true, is it? So we change that perception. So that's the biggest thing we do, is pull out the root cause, change the perception of it, and then you feel completely different. You've reprogrammed yourself, you reprogrammed your belief. And now you believe that you can sing, you can write, you can do whatever, or at the time that, like a sex abuse has happened, the culprit was the one who was wrong. It wasn't you. You didn't do anything. You are not dirty, or you're not, in whatever way that you thought you were. And changing that belief is just so important. And one of, the biggest work that I do is actually changing people's belief system. It's not easy to do that because a lot of it is in your subconscious mind, and subconscious mind is so deep. If you're programming, we cannot access it during our logic mind. So we have to go into alpha state. We have to go into delta state, like semi-sleep mode, to be able to change those belief systems. And even for myself, as a hypnotherapist, if I didn't get help from someone else asking the questions, then I would do a transcript of a tape for myself, allow the time for me to process that information whilst I'm listening and dreaming and thinking about it, and then coming out with a new transcript of how it is that I would like to be, not in that state. How it is that I would like to live if I was able to sing, if I was able to write, if I was able to have control of my life, or being with men or relationships, etc. So I think that's what it is that I want to say. The first is the root cause we need to dig out. The second is changing that perception. When you change that perception, which means the program change, the feeling change. And that feeling is what humans are living on most of the time. Our programming is via our feeling. You can say, oh, you shouldn't think like that, you shouldn't be happy. People can tell you all sorts of things of what you should be and shouldn't be. But how do you feel? That's the most important thing, is changing that feeling. And that's by changing the subconsciousness and the perception of what actually happened. Now I have my power back. I'm not that person anymore. I'm and all the affirmations that you say to yourself, you've got to start believing it. You've got to start believing you are enough. As a therapist, and as human beings that every single person needs, there's only 3 basic things. Only 3 basic things, very easy. One is I am enough. So being enough, because we always think something that we're not good enough in, or for somebody, or compared to, comparing other people. Second one is connection. I can connect. Earlier on we had another lady on here who mentioned about connection, how she connected with drawing and talking to a non-family member to help a child bring out and let out her emotions. It's about connection. With connection, you build that trust and warmth. Is really two important things when you connect with somebody. It's not how beautiful you are, how well dressed you are, etc. It's I feel I can talk to you. I feel I can trust you. I feel there is warmth that between us, that I can share my information and my deep, traumas or whatever it is that is going on in my life. Is that connection. And then the last one is it's available to me. So whatever it is that you want, whether it's love, whether it's money, whether it's, whatever, that degree, or I can do something, that is available to you. You don't have, you put your own glass ceiling to your, to your boundaries. So that's what we're always working on. And I think that's the most important thing about, what we're trying to do as therapists. We go back and trying to release the trauma and release and change the programming. As a coach, you are doing, you are looking at the future and trying to change and aim for goals and visions and meet those needs. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Angela Sung. And it is really, really helpful, because hypnotherapy is something we would, browse now and find out more. But as you said, there are so many things that happen in the past that people have maybe consciously and unconsciously clung themselves to, and now they do not even realize what's affecting their present life. Maybe it's not even relevant anymore. Maybe they don't even remember it, or they don't even know that the two are related. But the way you can take them to that part of the life when this happened, and change it and help them to get out of the situation and make a proper strategy to get them to the place that they want to and they wish to be currently. And as you said, whether you have the money, the happiness, or whatever you think you want in your life, it is purely manifestation. You have to believe it first, and then it would start coming to you. You will be happier if you work towards it, and you have to be happy from within. And what matters is just us. We matter. That is very important, and that is really very nice thing you have added today. Thank you so much, Dr. Angela. I would request Reina Kalhan from Dr. Reina Kalhan from Best of Me NLP. Would you please add something to this
Hello,
meeting?
everyone. Thank you for this wonderful platform, Meenakshi and Dr. Abby, and everyone else. Actually, a lot of what Raki and Angela have been talking about is also the area that I work with, which is your subconscious. So I work with your subconscious mind using NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, and hypnotherapy and life coaching. Now, the difference, we're all working on the same areas. Like you said, what's being held in your subconscious, those beliefs that you've created throughout your life, which can serve you or they can work against you. The way I want everyone to be aware, the way NLP looks at it is it's about your thought patterns. If you create a thought, you can also uncreate it. So if your thought and thinking is negative and it's about how you're not good enough, that thought was created sometime in the past, like it's already been mentioned, and it's sort of grown and it's been seeded and then grown and gone in that direction. NLP tries to change that direction of your thoughts, because the more you have that thought, the more it will build, the more it will grow. So if it's a thought like I'm not good enough, it will grow and grow and grow until you do something to take it in a different direction. So the NLP changes the picture in your mind of that thought. It takes your thought in a different direction. The hypnotherapy also helps with that. And then coaching helps you to learn your strengths. Learn your strengths about what is important to you in your life, what values matter to you, what strengths do you have in your life that you may not be aware of or that you need to relearn, or understand that actually you're enough. You're enough as who you are. We all have resources inside which we may have suppressed or not be aware of. It's bringing those resources to the surface and becoming aware that actually you're no different to someone else. It's just becoming aware of what value you hold for yourself. Learn your self-value, learn your strengths, learn to be courageous, and learn to change your thinking so it works for you instead of dragging you down. And I think if you can do that, it's not easy to do that, but if you can start to change your life in a positive direction, your mental health can also change. Once you start learning the positives about yourself and taking them in a direction that is positive, you will change. You will learn and find yourself valuable and, learn that you're actually perfect just the way you are. So that's what I work with and I preach. And I actually attended a conference yesterday, which was a government conference about mental health. And what was so lovely to see is that there's so many people in this world all wanting the best for everyone else, but and supporting and driving people, whether it's in a work environment, in a personal environment. Everyone wants happiness and healthiness and goodness for other people. And I think on in Mental Health Awareness Day, that's something we need to know and be aware of, is that actually there's a lot of people working towards that, and it's not all doom and gloom, and we're all on the same page.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wonderfully said.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rana Kalhan. That was beautiful. And yes, again, it is us who matters, we matter, and it is up to us to make that environment around us and the thought process which will take us to the place we want to be. It can be happy, it can be beautiful, but it has to start with us. That is very true. Thank you so much. I would request Dr. Allison to please add on to this if you would want to share an experience.
Oh, thank you so much. I was super, good afternoon, everyone. I was super excited when I knew you guys were doing this. I was a little busy, but I thought, I did join in a little later, but I was really so keen to hear other people's experiences, how other people cope with mental health. And it's been really enlightening. And I just hope that everybody can find somewhere or something that makes them feel like they belong and they can work and function to the full self of themselves. One of the things that I really wanted to reflect on is my mom used to always say something to me around, a broken mirror still works. It still reflects. And I think that for me, I just kind of find that really fascinating, that the idea that even something that is completely damaged, unwanted, it still holds value to someone that doesn't have it, and still functions to a massive extent. So that alone is, I think, one of the metaphors that I'd like people to take on, that even when something is so broken, so unwanted, almost useless to other people, it still works. It still serves a function. And that is reflecting on ourselves. We are still useful, even at the worst point in our lives. We are still lovable, even at the very least loved moment in our lives. And, there's that, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. He has a drag show and it's called RuPaul. And he has this amazing quote that I absolutely love. And I don't even know whether it's right to use it in the context of mental health. But he says something like, every time, somebody comes on stage, a model comes on stage, he says, if you don't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? So this whole work with mental health begins with self, your own self. And that's a really important space and place to start off, recognizing that you have to love yourself. The moment that you acknowledge and accept where you are, what you aspire to be, the dreams, the aspirations, the passions that you have, that is what I want to call the sweet spot for those of you neuroscience, I think, is that moment when you realize that you're still lovable, but you have to love yourself, because what you reflect is what other people give back to you. And so that's really important. And I'm going to just quickly, I know I don't have too much time, but I just want to share a moment where, I mean, I think I've shared this with a lot of women that know me and that have gotten to speak to me personally, because I'm almost a parrot about it. And in my early 30s, I experienced something that I didn't understand. I went through perimenopausal at a very early stage in my life. I did not understand it. I wasn't familiar with it. In fact, the point of even thinking of fathoming that it may be related to menopause was far from my points of, sort of just speculating on what it could be. I was tired. I was having brain fogs. I was an irritable mother, and never mind wife too. So, and I wasn't, and I realized I wasn't the very best version of myself in that moment. But I had to dig deep and find and look around me, look around the environment that I'm in, and say, I have an amazing family that are supporting me. So I have to work on me. And it was only then that I realized, it's actually whatever's happening to me is affecting my cognitive ability to function better, to be the best version of myself around my family, my peers, and so on. And so I did go to the doctors. And after many, many sort of blood tests and whatever else, eventually, and I say eventually because quite frustrating process, I did get to the point where they said, you actually are experiencing, menopause, so perimenopause quite early on. The moment that I knew and I acknowledged that that's what it was, is the moment my healing journey began. And it is the moment that I almost equip myself with a very special tool that I want to call willpower. And it was the willpower to dig myself out of this place that I'd gotten to and just sort of just say, look, I can do this. And often with mental health or cognitive issues, what happens, the better environment you're in or you pour yourself into, and speaking about it, I think you were saying about it, Ambassador, earlier, that it's about opening up. It's about being in the environment that allows you to be watered, because that is so important. Because when we're experiencing really low times or difficulties and challenges with life, those, are what I want to call our energy cups are often depleted. So we want to be around people that continuously pour into us, that never tire. And there's those people in our life. Each one of us has those people, but you have to be able to extend yourself outward to allow those people into your space to make magic happen. And that magic begins to happen when you get yourself in that moment where, people are able to pour into you. You are able to absorb that information and use it. Importantly, use it. And so I really don't want to take too much time, but I just want to, I think, also agree with the idea of neuroplasticity, which is the ability to learn, unlearn, relearn. Even myself, I continuously learn every day. And I love hearing from so many women and men's perspectives on how they deal with mental health, because it's not only the bad mental health moments that we have to really think about. We have to also think about the good health, the good mental health, which is when we are functioning and resilient and more stable. And then we have the bad mental health when we're beginning to feel a little bit stressed and just finding life a little bit somehow cumbersome to deal with. And those are the moments that really call us to look or start challenging ourselves to look for help, seek help. It doesn't necessarily have to be clinical or medical help, but it could be even from your friend. Go for those tea breaks. I think like Lady Wynette was saying, go for those coffees, take a walk, just do something that takes you away from an environment that may be toxic or an environment that isn't serving you brilliantly. And I think with that, you just remember that even broken mirrors still reflect. And I just hope you all continue to be the very best version of yourselves, and that never ever think you're at your lowest and unloved and unhelpable, because help is always a phone call away normally, or even a knock on the door to someone that really knows you so well. So thank you so much, Dr. Abhnash and Dr. Meenakshi, for putting this together and really giving us all a moment to reflect on ourselves and on the things that we really care about, and seeing if we are at our very best peak of our lives. So thank you so much. And thank you for having me.
So much. Dr. Allison, you have pointed out some very important things here, and you have spoken about the broken mirror. It still reflects, and if we need help, we have to seek it. We have to ask sometimes, and there will definitely be someone somewhere who has a solution. And today we are talking about mental health, women, and two very important topics came up. Perimenopausal is not easy to deal with the brain fogs and everything that it brings. Women really go into deep depression, and they do not know what's actually happening to them. So I think it is important everyone looks it up, reads a little, finds out about what these terms mean, especially for women. Dr. Raki Singh just mentioned earlier that she had gone through prenatal stress, and she thought that she is not the best mom. And these kind of things are real. These are challenges that we as women we face, and it's these are the situations when we need professional help, I would say, and we do need to ask for the help. That's the way that we can actually find ourselves in a better place. I would ask, I can see a few people have left. I would request Kamalpreet to please say something. She's a very strong person, and handling a lot of situations. And I think an insight from Kamalpreet is going to be is going to add value to this conversation today.
Yeah, so I heard everybody, like everybody has the same issue. The only thing is how everybody is dealing with it. So it depends on from one person to another how to deal with it. So what I feel in everybody's life there is
I'm so sorry, Priya. Can you please mute yourself? Sorry, Priya. Can you please mute? Yes.
Yeah, so I think in everybody's life, there are so many things going on. It is not like if I think, okay, my life is very hectic, my life is very stressful. It's not like that. Everybody has one or the other issue. I believe that this is not going to stop. This is not at all going to stop. One or the other issues is going to come. The only thing which is in our hands, is in our control, is our mental health. If we are keeping ourselves fit, our mental health fit, I think it is very easy to navigate through these kind of difficulties, no matter what. So I have been through a lot. I don't want to go into it, but yes, I would say that the only thing which was there with me, is my health, my mental health. So when I feel like, something is not right with me, I just go into my corner, or maybe I write gratitude journal just to pen down my feelings. So when I think I think Dr. Raki mentioned that it is a stigma. We don't talk about it. Unless we talk about something, it stays in our subconscious mind, and when it something stays in our subconscious mind, it reflects out to be something different, like if you have little ones to take care of them, you'll get irritated on their little thing no matter what. You'll get agitated about every single thing they do, although they are kids. We know that, even you know that they are kids and they're gonna do the stuff which are expected out of them, but you'll get irritated being a parent as well, being 30 years older to them, but still you'll feel irritated. So what it is that feeling which stayed in the subconscious mind and which has not been taken care of. So I think that spending out time for yourself, seeing what you are feeling right now and acknowledging it is very important. Even yesterday, like from past 1 year, past one, no, not 1 year, sorry, 1 month, I am not able to get into my usual routine of workouts, although I have kept myself very active, like daily, whatever my daily target is to get 12,000 steps. So I do that. I do normal walking as well. But the thing is, I wasn't able to do my workouts. So then yesterday I realized, like, what healing force, what was my healing force while I was mentally ill or depressed. So then I felt like those were my workouts which healed me. None of the medicines worked, none of any therapy worked, although they worked, but it wasn't the thing which I expected out of myself. Something was still bothering me. The only thing that healed me is my workouts, and I'm not doing those. So with determination, I just took myself some time for myself. I did practice my handstand and I was able to do, and I felt so happy. And pull-ups, push-ups, I was not able to do it because I felt like, my upper body is not that as strong as my core. So I could do those like 20 push-ups, which were like, something different for me. I was quite reluctant to do that, and I felt so happy from inside, and it was kind of an achievement for me. So I felt like, penning down my feelings, how I felt about mental health day. So I immediately after doing this, I took out my journal and I wrote like, someone who is struggling with mental health is always in my prayers, because I feel this is really very difficult. Mental health is not something we can ignore, although nothing can be ignored. But if you are mentally not fit, if you are happy not from inside, you cannot make others happy. So this is the key message I really want to give everyone, that no matter what, just take 10 minutes of your time for yourself. Either do meditate, even if I was not getting time for myself, like I was not able to do my workouts, but I made sure that right in the morning, I love waking up early in the morning. So right in the morning, when I'm having tea, I just want that quiet moment for myself. So I usually do that. So it keeps me calm and it helps me navigate through thick and thins of my life. So having healthy mind is more important than having healthy body. If we don't have if we don't have healthy mind, we can't keep our body fit. So we'll get problems like hormonal issues or whatsoever. Like I got anemic after having medications from 2 years. So I got anemic, and then later I got problems in my periods as well. So these are the kind of things which we face when we are not mentally fit.
Thank you so much, Kamalpreet. That was wonderful. And I think it is really essential what you said is, even exercise helps us a lot. Walk in the garden,
Yeah,
exercise, and all of this, the physical health also boosts up the mental health.
mental
And
health. Yeah, I think Dr. Raki mentioned artwork also. So I did that
artwork
as
as
well.
well, yes.
Yeah,
These are all
yeah.
therapies, I would say.
These are all,
Yes.
yes, these are all
Yeah.
therapies. And yeah, this
I
mental
would
health is something very close to my heart.
No, it's very brave of many of you who are opening up today and saying such experiences, sharing, and letting us know more. And we are learning from this talk today. Is there anyone else who would want to share anything today with us? Because I think we are done with our speakers list.
What about Priya? Does she want to say anything? Manakshi, does Priya
I
want
think
to say
she
anything?
has disconnected, Abby.
Okay, and what about Oba?
Obia Sharon.
Yeah.
Obia Sharon, would you please want to share something from your experience? With this, I think we can conclude now. As we know, the United Kingdom was recently ranked in a global survey as the second worst place in the world for mental well-being. The only country that scored lower was Uzbekistan, and two countries currently at war, Yemen and Ukraine, scored higher happiness. I think we should work on our mental health, and we should definitely seek help if it is needed. If we are feeling depressed, stressed, we can talk to a friend, and we can talk to someone we trust. But if you are having some serious mental problems, like there could be schizophrenia, there are many other things actually which are we cannot solve by just talking and counseling. We would need more help to it. So you can visit your GP if you're feeling overwhelmed or noticing signs of mental health challenges such as anxiety, depression, changes in behavior. Please speak to them. Contact your primary care 24 GP practice. You can call NHS 111 for immediate advice on mental health crisis if you need urgent help outside of office hours. There are many mental health resources, like you can check Mind. There are many other places. Even NHS website has got a lot of details on everything you would want. Please check it, find help, get help, and be happy. Abby, would you want to conclude?
Hello?
Yes, hi, Obia. I thought you left. Yes, please share. We cannot hear you.
Hello?
Yes, yes, Mr. Obia. Can you please? We can hear you. Would you want to
Yeah,
say something?
yeah, I've been listening to the different speeches and I have a different conception here in Africa, particularly with my case. In my early age, I was traumatized
Okay.
due to the separation of my family. So I had to battle with life to stand. What I used as a tool was martial art and the writing of books. I've concentrated on my education to try to boost up my mind. In Africa, we don't have a support system when it comes to mental health. Like in other countries where if you are in school, you have a counselor that you can discuss with the counselor and he's going to know how to orientate you. In Africa, we don't have that support system, particularly in Cameroon. So I had to battle for myself. I used martial arts, yoga, and I started writing books. That's what inspired me to come back to myself. And I like to say that the mirror can be broken, but you are not broken. That was a short contribution I have to do.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Obi. I think we already guessed some of the problems that were in camera because we do have ICG based chair based there. So maybe we can set up a mutual another sessions because that's what we are trying to do, because the next stage is trying to break into regions, which I think is already on the website. So every and each chair, can you have a please look at that and see how you see it going forward, because we are growing very fast and very quickly, so we don't want to make any errors. Thank you for that. And if anybody wants to set up another session, even if it's only 30-minute sessions, and give your panels or give your guests about 3 to 4 minutes, it's fine if you got two people only, but that's something we can discuss as ICG chairs later on. And because we got the Zoom now, and we can make sure it's available to you. And that would be as ICG chairs, but that does not mean you cannot promote your own work. So the banner is being created, is there. Manakshi, if you share it with all the ICG chairs or SESH, and they can have it. So that would be the backdrop. And then in between, say, for example, like Reena or Dr. Geeta, they have their own company, but as ICG chairs, them they can have and say, please contact me, on their numbers if they want, because obviously we don't want them contacts coming through to us and it'd be too much work for us. And so that's one thing. And so I hope everybody will be able to attend the next ICG advisory meeting, as well as the next ICG chairs meeting, or as many people as possible, because we do want your ideas, we do want your input to make it a smooth running for each of us to be successful. Because like I said in the conference, and like I keep on repeating, for me, the first thing is all of you should be healthy yourselves. Your health comes first. Then your families, then your business. It's only because of those three things, if they're in alignment, can you be of any use to the rest of us. So the priority is, yes, we would love to have you with us, but if you don't have those three things in position, you can't help anybody. You can't help yourself. You can't help anybody else. So, and as we hear, with all this clatter out there about, bombarding us, and we don't have time. And I'll be honest, the West is a very stressful place, especially in England. I went to Kenya, and I'll be honest with you, I feel relaxed. I go to India, I feel relaxed, because the phase of life is very, very kind of peaceful and very slow. Here in the UK, I don't know about Europe. I mean, I went to Spain, maybe it was a holiday, so I didn't feel so stressed. But anywhere else you go, the phase of life is a bit smaller. So you're not so much mentally upset or mentally got all these news bombarding you. And that causes problems. I don't know about the rest of the people, but have you ever felt when too much gets to you, it's like somebody's put a ton of bricks on your head and they gradually seem to be pressing your head down. So I want to thank each and every person who's been the 20, 30, 20 plus people that's joined us today, to thank them for their input, for joining us. And please, just Google wherever you are. There is a lot of free service. You're not alone. You don't need to, if you don't want to talk to your friends, your family, because you don't trust them to keep your information confidential, pick up a phone. All right. That's what those counselors are sitting at the end of the phone to listen to you. You don't have to, you don't even have to give them your name half the time. So if you feel things are getting too much for you, pick up a phone, talk to a counselor at the end of the phone. But please do go for the recognized professional people. All right. because they have actually signed a contract and abiding by certain rules and regulations of their society. So take care, be happy, and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Abby. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, everyone.